Hi, my name is James Arfanitakis and I'm the Dean of the Graduate Research School here at Western Sydney University. And this is one of our series of short videos that we make, I suppose, to give tips to high degree research students. So today's tip is 5 mistakes that PhD students make. The first one is, and it's not a surprising one, is that basically students spend their first year not getting into their research. Whereas one of my colleagues once said, they just frig around too much. Now, everybody thinks I've got 3 years, and they don't actually realise that 3 years passes really, really quickly. And your first year in some ways is your most important because you need to get that first year, you need to get that framing right. And it's actually in your first year that do that. So don't just waste your time thinking that some amazing idea is going to come to you. Start reading and start writing. And writing is really important. It's not something you save up to the end, it's something you should do straight away. So that's the first tip. The second tip is that, and this is a really boring one, you should keep on top of the administration. A lot of students forget to re-enroll. All of a sudden they stop getting their emails. They stop getting information about potential scholarships or opportunities that exist. And they wonder what's happened. And then they have to catch up and re-enroll and go through all that paperwork. So stay on top of the administration. Check your emails regularly. Make sure that you know what's going on because you don't want to miss opportunities that may arise. The third tip is that students don't career plan. Now, we know today that 50% of PhD students do not go into academia. What they actually do is they do other things, such as working as researchers in private organisations. People do startups, they work for government in policy areas or United Nations, World Bank and so on. Now, there's a lot of processes that you do go through your PhD, and generally a PhD is about training you to be a world-class researcher, but doesn't actually tell you how you should start thinking about your career. So one of the things to do while you're doing your PhD is start planning about what you want to do next. Start thinking about, well, if you want to do something, say, like get into policy work, what type of things you're going to publish, where you're going to publish, what conferences you're going to go to. So start that career planning. And this is a really, really important element that's actually missing from a lot of people's PhDs. The fourth mistake that a lot of PhD students make is they cancel meetings with supervisors. They kind of feel that they shouldn't, like, oh, I haven't done enough work, so I'm just going to cancel your meeting with your supervisor. Actually, that's a big mistake to make. And actually, when you start cancelling meetings, a supervisor, or the dean, in this case me, gets really concerned about your progress. So what you're better off doing is, if you've got a meeting coming up, sending some information to your supervisor about what you've been doing, even if it's a couple of paragraphs, just so they know the type of thing you're working on. And you can actually then begin to have a meeting that's focused around the type of work you're doing. So never cancel a meeting if you can avoid it. I mean, if something urgent comes up, sure, but generally try and avoid it. And the best thing to do, or what I always encourage my students to do, is a few days before that meeting, send some writing about the type of work you're doing, or a copy of your lab book or something, so your supervisor knows what to talk to you about, and actually then you can begin to kind of formulate a more decent discussion. And I suppose the fifth mistake that PhD students make is that they don't take decent notes during their supervisory meetings. The time that you spend with your supervisor or your supervisory panel is really important, and it's meant to guide you. You may know more about a topic than your supervisor by the time you finish your PhD, but what they know a lot about is the process and the way to frame an argument. And that's really important. So often when students meet with their supervisors, they get caught up in the conversation and they don't take detailed notes. So my recommendation to you is you always bring some paper, take detailed notes, summarise them in an email to your supervisor, and make sure that you both agree on what you've discussed and which is the way forward. So there are 5 mistakes that PhD students often make, and I've offered you 5 solutions on getting around them. So I hope you enjoy the journey. It's an amazing process doing a PhD. So do enjoy it, and best of luck.